Okay, let us see how the branch and bound method is implemented for nonlinear problem. The problem that we are considering here is that of the Hemeblew function, which we have seen previously. So the function is as given here. The contour plots of this objective function are shown on the right hand side figure. So x1 on the x-axis, x2 on the y-axis, and for example this 10 number indicates that this contour line, and along all these lines the function is having value of 10. The black dots what you see here, they are the feasible integer solutions to this particular problem. So out of those number of dots, which dot is having the minimum value of the function is that what we are trying to find out. And for this we are using the branch and bound method. The problem has got two constraints, the nonlinear constraint G1 and the linear constraint G2, and in addition it has got all integers as the additional constraint. Let's apply the branch and bound method and find solution to this problem. So in order to solve, in order to find solution to this problem, we need to have some algorithm. So I will be using the random search method to find the real value solution to this particular problem. So I return a code which will give me the optimum solution for this specific problem. That once I find the real value solution, I can decide which variable to branch upon and then proceed with the branching. So let's take the first run. So the code I am using is as shown here. So here all the constraints are defined in this function. So later on we'll be adding additional constraints in this code. So let's take a run. Once I take the run, I will obtain the solution, and the solution is given here as 2.629, 2.091 with function value as 0. So that is the optimum solution if you consider the Hemeblew function as the real value function. But in this case, these two values are not acceptable because they are not integers. So we have the first solution which is given here. So let me note it down on my sheet. So the solution that I obtained is 2.629, 2.629, x2 equal to 2.091, and the function value is 0. So I can branch either on x1 or on x2. Let me decide that I want to branch on x1. So in that case, the first constraint will be based on the value of x1. So my first constraint, first branch would be x1, which is less than or equal to 2, and the second constraint will be x1, which is greater than or equal to 3. So in order to tabulate, after this we will be doing multiple branching. In order to tabulate all the results, I will be using a screen in order to record all the numbers. So let's go to that screen and record all the solutions that we are going to obtain. So it is x1 equal to 2.629 and x2 equal to 2.091. And the function value is 0. So function value is 0. However, this being a non-integer solution, it doesn't help us to note this number. So our first branch is x1 is less than or equal to 2, and the second branch is x1 is greater than or equal to 3. So let's add this particular constraint x1 less than or equal to 2 to our original problem and find out what is the solution to that case. So I will recall my code. In my code, I will add my additional constraint. So I will add here the constraint which is and x1 is less than or equal to 2. So with this additional constraint, I will take a run and I will find the solution corresponding to this case, which is x1 equal to 2, x2 equal to 2.358 and the function value is 7.2. So function value is 7.2. Similarly, I need to take the run for the second branch. So we have got the value of function here. So second branch, it is x1 is greater than or equal to 3. So I will add that constraint that x1 is greater than or equal to 3. Take a run and I'll obtain the solution which so now I can write it down. So I'm writing the solution x1 equal to 3, x2 equal to 1.873 and the function value is 3.75. So at this point we have not obtained all integer solutions, so none of the nodes can be fathomed or they cannot be stopped at this point. So we have to go for further branching. So let's start expanding the branch number 1. So let's proceed with branch number 3 and 4. So here x1 is already reached the integer value, so we have to branch on x2. So first branch based on the number 2.358. So x2 should be less than or equal to 2 or x2 should be greater than or equal to 3. So these are the two branches that we have to evaluate. So let's put this condition in our code and find out the solution. So remember that here for branch number 3 I have two conditions. One is which is coming from earlier case, so that is x1 is less than or equal to 2. So that was the condition which is coming from here. So this is the x1 less than or equal to 2 which I need to consider, and an additional constraint which is x2 is less than or equal to 2. So with this, let me take the run and I get the solution as x1 equal to 2, x2 equal to 2 and the function value is 10. The decimals that you see here, that is because of some fractional residue that exists in the variables x1 and x2. But for the practical purposes, x1 and x2 are the integers and the function value is also integer in that sense. So we got the value here. So since we have got all integer solutions, so this particular node is fathom. That means we need not do any further branching from this particular point. Next we'll go to branch number 4 where we have x2 equal to 3 to be considered. So we'll add the constraint x2 greater than or equal to 3. So we have x2 greater than or equal to 3. Take the run and we obtain the solution. So the solution we obtained is x1 equal to 2, x2 equal to 3 and the function value is 20. So the function value is 20. So as you can see here, our function value is higher than what we earlier got, and hence this we need not proceed along this particular branch. So this is also fathomed. Now let's look at the branch which is remaining. So that is the branch number 2. So in this case, we have to branch again on x2. So we will get x2 less than or equal to 1 corresponding to branch number 5. and x2 greater than or equal to 2 corresponding to branch number 6. So for branch number 5 we have to add the constraint x1 greater than or equal to 3 and x2 less than or equal to 1. So let's add that constraint in our code. So I will go to my constraint function, add x1 to be greater than or equal to 3. So x1 is greater than or equal to 3 and x2 is less than or equal to 1. So less than or equal to 1. After taking the run, I will obtain the value of the function here as x1 equal to 3, x2 equal to 1 and the function value is again 10. So this node is also fathomed as it is all integer and the function value is minimum. So it matches with the previous minimum. So that is a candidate solution. Let's look at the last branch number 6. So in branch number 6 we have to add the constraint x2 greater than or equal to 2. So I will add that constraint, take the run and we will record the solution. So the solution I get is x1 equal to 3, x2 equal to 2 and the function value is 4. Again this is fathom because no further branching is possible or needed from this particular point. So if you look at all these branches that we have obtained, we will find that the best solution is corresponding to x1 equal to 3 and x2 equal to 2, which can be plotted here at on the graph. We can plot it as shown at this particular point. So this is the best point, best integer solution that can be found in this particular case. Now, having looked at the branch and bound methods implementation for nonlinear problem, some look at the number of computations required in order to obtain solution is necessary. So let's look at the computations involved. Let's consider that we don't want to use, in this case, instead of the branch and bound method, one wants to use full enumeration or exhaustive enumeration, which is generally avoided because it leads to a lot of computations. But in this particular case, interestingly, you have got to evaluate the function only at those black dots. So these are 22 in numbers. So just 22 computations are involved in order to solve this particular problem. Whereas by using the random search method and branch and bound method, I need to do 72,000 computations. So that's very interesting insight. That branch and bound method, it in general would involve a more number of computations for a specific class of problem. So this particular class of problem, the branch and bound method will not work. In the sense, it is not advisable to use this particular method because of the nature of problem. And some other method, in fact, the exhaustive search method, which is in general avoided, can be better solution in this particular case. As a general guideline, we can say that the BBM is not advisable for problems with more than 10 integer variables. So with more than 10 integer variables, the number of computations those are involved in order to keep on branching on each of these variables. So that would take a lot of time and computer resources, and hence this method is to be used with some understanding. You cannot blindly apply this method and expect to get a practical solution to the problem. So at this point we will have a look at another method which is not enumerative, but it is a stochastic method known as simulated annealing.